everybody out there in the Instagram universe. What up? It's your sis, Moon Magic. How are you all doing out there? Happy Wednesday. So like I said earlier, my name is Moon Magic. I'm an artist here in Sacramento. And Word Wizards was started in 2017 as a way of uniting people through the power of words to be able to share our medicine, awaken, and heal. And so today I am honored to be able to bring a special guest here on our IGTV for Word Wizards Wednesday. So when they hop on the live, I'm going to give a little intro of who they are and what they're about. I wanted to do these Word Wizard Wednesdays because, we're all locked up in, most of us. I'm not sure where you all are, but here in California, we're still under quarantine. And I'm not gonna lie, y'all, it's been very, very difficult to not be able to get out into the community, be able to have the conversations we have in person and perform and all those good things. The Word Wizards medicine platform has been used for mixtapes, and it's also been used to facilitate shows. That's something that I've done through this platform many times and want to keep doing in the future. But unfortunately, right now, we're unable to go and perform in person. And the IG live performances, I've done them through this platform and will continue to do so if need be. But I feel this interview process that I'm about to do with our special guest today and this Word Wizard Wednesdays is an opportunity to get to know each artist on a little bit of a deeper level and, just have open, honest conversations during this time that I hope can, contribute to a positive impact and positive future for us. So, as we're waiting for our special guest to get here on the IGTV live, it is a Word Wizards Wednesday, so I'm going to go ahead and do a card reading, a moon card reading. And this card here is going to be our card of the day. And the deck that I'm going to pull from is called the Moon deck. It's one of my favorite oracle decks. You can find them at the_moon_deck. I like to do these sometimes. I'll pull a card even before the shows whenever I host the Word Wizards shows. And sometimes just in general in my own personal life, I work with these cards often. And I find that it helps me to ground into the present moment and to just, honor whatever it is that you're showing up with today as you watch this IGTV. And yeah, may you hear the words that you need to hear today. That can be that missing piece, missing piece of the puzzle, that missing link in your life right now. So I'm going to go ahead and shuffle these cards, and we're going to get a card pulled for us today for a special message for all the viewers out there who watch this. All right, we had two cards that pulled out. Ooh. It says, conscious eating nourishes me. Number 29. And the other one says, my dreams reveal that magic is real and anything is possible. So the first one, conscious eating nourishes me. I'm going to read that one. And I'm going to read the second one. And then it looks like our special guest has joined the room, so I will bring them on after I read our oracle decks. So number 29. Food is an extension of the earth's love for us, which we must never take for granted. It is a tremendous gift that fuels and nourishes us. Lovingly put foods in your body and that make you thrive. Be willing to experiment with what that means for you personally. This is a journey and may change as your womanly phases change or your bodily changes, no matter what gender you are. It's also delicious and should be enjoyed. When you consciously eat with gratitude, you raise your vibration, enhance your food's flavor and nutrition, and encourage a positive relationship with your body. Food is also a wonderful way to come together with others and take pleasure in communal meals. As you explore a new appreciation for food, consider the season, cycle, and where your food comes from. This is also a metaphor. How are you nourishing your well-being beyond food, and how is this impacting your well-being? And the reason I got a little excited when I first saw this card is I definitely have been thinking a lot about my own thoughts and how I'm nourishing myself with my own thoughts towards myself, especially because, you know, that's something that we consume a lot, right, is our own self-talk, and making sure that we're nourishing ourselves with our self-talk because, you know, if we're not paying attention, sometimes that self-talk can be negative, and I definitely have seen myself these last couple of days getting stuck in those types of loops. So this oracle deck is definitely helpful for me to see that, and hopefully can be helpful for you as well. All right, the second one, number 11. IsoThePoet said, anything is possible with faith and good intentions. Yes, right here, right? My dreams reveal that magic is real and anything is possible. Dreams of the night may reveal insights that rest in our subconscious. They may also inform our daydreams, where we become the masters of boundless possibility. Our dreams need inspiration to flourish and help us better understand our path and awaken our connection to great vision. Your dreams are asking you to bring them to life with continuous support and sincere belief. Consider yourself a midwife for your dreams. Welcome motivation, imagination, commitment, and a playful spirit. Set clear intentions for your present path, nurture its growth, and then let go. It takes bravery to build and fully realize your dreams as you infuse them with conscious love and dedicated action. Build your dream team and have gratitude for the inspired force behind it all. I really like these two together because, you know, that positive self-talk or the way that we nourish our own thoughts, how we nourish ourselves beyond just the food we eat, is also how we nourish our dreams. Because if we have that negative self-talk and those loops that I was talking about that I was finding myself in earlier can also really, you know, start to hurt the way you view what's possible for you in whatever it is that you are creating in your life. And the ability to have positive self-talk about what you are creating in your life is, it's a practice. It's a practice. So, you know, the oracle decks are coming in right now to give you that encouragement, to give me that encouragement, and give you as the viewer the encouragement. Before we get started with our Word Wizard Wednesdays today, I'm super excited for our guest. IsoThePoet is in the building. So before I bring IsoThePoet in, let's all just take a little deep breath inside. Alrighty, without further ado, IsoThePoet, I'm super excited to have you be the first guest onto Word Wizards Wednesday. Iso and I go way back. We've known each other for quite a while and got to see each other grow a lot on our journey. And I'm super honored to have him be the first guest of the Word Wizards Wednesday. IsoThePoet is a poet, a dope artist, as well as a rapper, and just an overall dope human being. They also were awarded the Rising Star for the Black Awards of 2020 here in Sacramento, the Black Music Awards. So shout out to them on that award. And yeah, I'm super excited for our conversation today. So let me go ahead and bring them on. Let's see.
I must be behind it. You were still talking when I got the request.
Oh, snap. Well, hello, welcome. How are you?
I'm good. And yourself?
Good to see your face in real D.
Yeah, it's always nice to see you too, Queen.
I'm doing, all right over here. It's been a week for me over here. I don't know about you. So I'm really, really happy to get to talk to you today because, man, it's been an
Yeah,
emotional week. COVID's been hitting closer and closer to home for me. And it's been a whirlwind, man.
yeah. I just got recent news of some close family members of mine out of a couple cities away that got diagnosed with COVID. But
Yeah.
luckily, they're health wise, they're not really experiencing too many symptoms. So we got to count our blessings, as we go along and everything. But it's nice to see that we've got to the point where they've found a vaccine. Hopefully, the vaccine has positive feedback and positive effects.
Yeah, how you
And
feeling about the vaccine?
well, I think personally, it like, for example, when earlier this year, around like March, I was playing basketball before COVID, before they announced the lockdown.
Mm-hmm.
They announced the lockdown while I was playing. I was at a gym at 24 Hour Fitness playing basketball, and they came in and they told us they were shutting down early, and we had to leave in like 30 minutes or an hour. And right after that, they announced that they were going to be locked, and they were going to be doing the lockdown. So I couldn't play basketball for a while, but other people were out there still playing because like they were like, bruh, I don't really believe in what they're saying and everything.
Yeah.
So a lot of people were out there still playing, and I was seeing them on Instagram and everything. And basketball is like my second like I want to say it's my second life.
Mm-hmm.
I would say personally that was one of my first passions where I like went at it every day for like 3 to 4 or 5 hours straight.
Damn.
So basketball was my first love. um, so I'm very passionate about basketball, and I play recreationally, all the time. So
Are you still playing right now with all this COVID stuff going on?
well, so basically I took about like 6 months off. So from March all the way to like August or September.
Mm-hmm.
I said I'm not going to play for the rest of the year until all this COVID stuff gets under control.
Yeah.
So I was also watching the people while they were playing. I was paying attention to all my friends that were out there playing basketball and everything. So over time, over like a 7 month period, I noticed that none of them came down with any got diagnosed with COVID at all or anything.
Oh wow.
So and they were out there they're out there at least
younger people, right?
4 to 5 days a week. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they're out there 4 to 5 days a week. Now this was before I knew that like 80% of people who get diagnosed with COVID are symptomatic. I didn't know that. But after like 6 or 7 months, I figured, okay, 6 or 7 months passed by and these people been playing basketball every day. I'm finna go out there. And I figured because it's not high risk at that point. I'm
Right.
6 or 7 months with like 20, 25 people on the court. Nobody's getting sick with COVID.
Right.
I'm going out there. Like that's not high risk at that
Right.
point. But then my friend told me, he said 80% of people who get COVID are symptomatic. So just because nobody's getting sick doesn't mean people don't have COVID. And I didn't know that at that point. That was crazy. Yeah.
So how you feel about the vaccine? You getting it?
So what I'm getting to is what the vaccine is.
I don't know how I feel about it, to be honest.
like when you look at that 6 or 7 month period I took away,
yeah.
I played basketball for a while, for like 2-3 months straight. And sometimes I was out there every day, 5 days a week.
Yeah.
Nothing happened.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm getting to is but I put myself, I took 6 or 7 months to make the decision though. So what I'm getting to with the vaccine is like we gotta it's going to take time for me personally to trust the vaccine
Yeah.
because um like they call it the law of averages or law of large numbers or stuff like that, where you want to see how many of these people are getting the vaccine, how many people are having negative responses to the vaccine.
Yeah.
And that's what's going to finalize my decision on whether the vaccine is safe for me to take.
I guess we'll see, right? I guess we'll see. Well, I'm
Yeah.
super fortunate to have you here tonight for Word Wizards Wednesday. Before you hopped on, I was just talking about, I wanted to do this because we don't get to do live shows anymore. And one of the things that really filled my cup up on a personal level is getting to perform along with all my friends and getting to host shows and, getting to just exchange in person and share what it is that we do and who we are with ourselves, the community, and, and build on those things and share our art and our music. And so I wanted to bring that here to the IGTV through Word Wizards Wednesday and invite people who definitely are word wizards, who have powerful words such as yourself, to be able to, share a little bit about who you are as an artist and, perform for the good people here online and, get those words out there. And so for my first question is, how did you, I know your origin story, but for those who will be watching on the playback or are watching and tuning in right now, how did you get your start with poetry and, music and all that you do?
Well, as a kid, I always wanted to be a singer, and
Mm.
I even performed in talent shows.
Yeah,
And
those who don't know, Jabri's got a good voice. I heard your singing voice. You make that
uh,
song cry. Hashtag.
some people tell me I got a okay voice, and some people say they rather not hear me sing. But
The haters,
overall,
haters,
personally,
haters.
um, I did try singing in the talent show in elementary school. I sang in about like three or four different talent shows in elementary school, and as I got in middle school and high school, I had a lot of trouble with behavior and everything. I was a very talkative person, a very social person, and that was mainly what got me in trouble. Like my first year in seventh grade was more so confrontations and stuff. Getting into fights and stuff like that because I wasn't the type of person to back down from a fight when I was younger.
Mm.
But after when I got in eighth grade, I noticed I missed out on a whole year of school in that experience, and I wanted to be there for that experience. So I promised myself I wasn't going to be getting into it with people and everything, and I wasn't going to engage in conflicts. Then I eventually got so eventually, long story short, I got into a lot of trouble when I was younger. So I didn't really get a chance to um, explore my talents, in front of a large crowd of people in middle school and high school because of that. Then in high school, I got diagnosed with some illnesses. So yeah, so I was actually planning on exploring more my talents as when I was younger, but I only really got the opportunity to do that in elementary school.
Mm.
But I didn't really get a lot of support
Yeah.
as far as singing goes. So I always wanted to be a singer, just didn't get a lot of support. And my family plays around, and says little small jokes, about it,
Dude,
but
my
they
family
really,
used to do the same shit. I grew up with all
yeah.
boys in my house, so boys be.
And then they'll turn around and be like, "Well, you could actually sing. We just
Mm.
like playing, joking around with you and everything." But when you
Mm-hmm.
don't get when you're outside and you don't get a lot of you don't got get a lot of praise for your singing. It kind of you become a little bit more sensitive, I guess, when people make jokes about it. And
Yeah.
eventually, I stopped pursuing singing. I still sing out loud like crazy whenever I'll be walking down the street. I'll be
I
at the
heard you be
basketball
singing
court.
after rhythm and poetry. You used to always be like singing with your
Yeah,
cigarette.
yeah, I'll be singing all the time,
Yes.
But as far as professionally, I don't think I'll be pursuing any career professionally. But who knows? As I grow as an artist, you know,
So how,
maybe
how
take
did you
some
get started in
voice
poetry?
lessons
Because
and
I
stuff.
know you met Michael Ellis and Keynote Poets, and for those who are just joining, I'm here with Jabrizi, is also what I call you, Jabri, also known as ISO the Poet. That's their official stage name, a poet here in Sacramento, artist. Um, and we go way back because we met at Rhythm and Poetry. And I know for both of us, that was kind of the birthing grounds of where we really were kind of got to explore a lot of our talent that we, you know, worked on as a kid, but never really shared with a lot of people. And it was a place where we got to share, found really amazing mentors and friends and other people, and just really, you know, got to kind of get on our path to say. So for those who don't know, tell them a little bit about Keynote Poets. Tell them how you got introduced to Michael Ellis and how that brought you to Rhythm and Poetry.
So, you know, it's crazy how I actually got into poetry, because when I was younger, I used poetry to write as a, you know, just a vent. Then I stopped writing poetry, and I had a friend who introduced me to rap. And I told myself, oh, excuse me, sorry about that. I have a large truck crossing outside. But anyway, when I was so I eventually decided I was going to be a rapper, and I was so, you know, I was so convinced and so dedicated and devoted to being a rapper. But so but at that time I was going through a lot of stuff, getting into a lot of trouble, and you know, I was doing gangster rap. So poetry was so far from that in my you know, gangster rap and poetry. It wasn't really gangster rap, but it was very hardcore rap. So eventually while I was attending conservation corps, I came across a teacher called a teacher named Miss Carolyn, and Miss Carolyn decided to start using poetry as a form of venting and everything, and, you know, and healing for the students. So I ended up partaking in that. But one day when artist by the name of Michael Ellis, spoken word artist
Shout out to
by
the
the name of
OG
Michael Ellis,
veterans, Michael Ellis.
yeah, he eventually showed up. He eventually showed up to our school, but I wasn't there the first day he showed up. Imagine that.
Oh,
I
wow.
wasn't there the
Wow.
first day Michael Ellis showed up to our school. And I was very disappointed because they said that this was a world-renowned artist. I'm like, wow, my man, award-winning poet. I wanted to hear him, and he was a black man too. You know, so that kind of hit home for me personally because, excuse me, I've never been as far as art goes. I've never come across um, a a black man, an older black man who I could look up to, you know, who was skilled in art, you know, or you know, actively, frequently expressed themselves through art. So I really wanted to seize that opportunity. So the next time, no, I believe I had came to school the next day, and I read a poem to her, and she said she loved the poem. The poem was great, and she called Michael Ellis back to my surprise. And, you know, I was so lucky for that, because when Michael Ellis had came and I had read the poem, and, you know, we had a conversation, I asked him if he could mentor me and teach me how to perform like him, because when he performed, it was so touching. And like Michael Ellis is a hell of a writer. Like, you know, right now he's you know, I wish people would have been a little bit more been around for when his earlier writing, when he was like I want to say he was touching on more sensitive issues. Right now, you know, he's experimenting in other forms of art and everything, but he's still writing poetry. But when he was touching on very sensitive issues, he would write something that was so heartbreaking or so heart-wrenching, it'll break you down, like right there in the room. You know what I'm saying? So so that inspired me as an artist. I wanted to be mentored by Michael Ellis. I started working under Michael Ellis, and I showed up every Friday to his group, to his show called Keynote Poets. And he was, you know, and eventually we took a hit where we were boycotted, and we thought Keynotes was going to end, but we didn't call it quits. I stuck by Michael Ellis's side, because I believed in Michael Ellis in the show that he was doing, even though he had tons of support worldwide. They wanted us to open venues in, like, you know, London and just Philippines, all over the world. But Sacramento, for some reason, just was not very supportive of Michael Ellis. So I'm grateful to have stuck around and not have called it quits, because I learned so much from Michael Ellis. And eventually, that's when Graffiti Blue showed up, and Graffiti Blue decided he wanted to host the show himself. Graffiti Blue is also a very well established artist from I believe New York, and he's an outstanding artist. And
shout out to Graffiti Blue.
He had brought a show called Rhythm and Poetry to the same exact
Tina Katz. Shout out to Tina Katz, Miss Diva Cat too.
Yes, Miss Diva Cat and Mr. Graffiti Blue. They had brought Rhythm and Poetry to the same exact venue that we had held keynotes at.
And that's how we met.
We were competing. Even though we were supporting one another. We were actually very supportive of not one another, but we were competing with one another in the same building as well. But then Graffiti Blue took someone under his wing, and I never met her at the time. I didn't meet her. I had not met her at the time. It was you. I heard a lot of talk about you. I heard a lot of talk about you, but I didn't meet you at that time. So, because I wasn't showing up to Rhythm and Poetry at the time, because our show was one day, I believe, one day after you guys.
Yeah,
so
Rhythm and Poetry was on Thursday and Keynote Poets was on Friday.
Exactly. So I heard a lot about you, and eventually I finally got the chance to attend Rhythm and Poetry, and I believe that's when I had met you. And ever since then, we've been working under people like Graffiti Blue and Michael Ellis. Sooner or later, Keynotes decided to take a break, and a lot of me and Michael Ellis, we were actively supporting Rhythm and Poetry, and I got the chance to work under Graffiti Blue myself. And what's crazy was for a second we kind of switched places. Because I was working very close to Graffiti and some, to an extent, but you began working very close to Michael Ellis.
Yeah, I went to Keynote Poets on a Friday, and then that's how I got plugged in with Michael Ellis, because he came, I think Michael had come to Rhythm and Poetry one day, and so I kind of got to meet, both groups of people and go to both venues as well. It was really dope.
Yeah, so over the years, I've been learning a lot from Michael Ellis, and you had learned a lot from Graffiti, and then you started learning a lot from Michael Ellis yourself, and so I've just been growing as an artist. And I remember I attended a venue with a show with Michael Ellis. This is earlier when I started working with Michael Ellis. I attended a show with him, and the show I attended was hosted by another brother who he mentored, and he was an older brother. He was about 40 to like, I would say 45 or so, and his name was Terry Moore.
Okay, that's who I thought you were gonna say. Yeah, so for people who are just tuning in, shout out to Outcome from the PTC crew, who's up in the chat, and everybody who's joining us now. I'm here for Word Wizards Wednesday, your host, Moon Magic, with IsoThePoet, who's sitting down with me, and we're having a conversation about his artist journey, how we met back in the day at Rhythm and Poetry, and where he is now, which he is now working a lot with Terry Moore, who Terry Moore is really well known here in Sacramento. He works at, does a lot of shows out of Laughs Unlimited, right?
Laughs Unlimited, and we tend to do some shows in Elk Grove, even at I believe the Texas Roadhouse or the Strikes over there, or in Elk Grove somewhere.
Yeah, so tell people who are tuning in what shows you have been doing. I've been seeing some flyers. Are you doing shows in person?
Right now, we are not doing shows in person, especially with the pandemic going on. We've been waiting for things to ease up, but every time Sacramento had progressed, we eventually had a setback where we had to, where we expected them to lift some restrictions on, group gatherings and stuff like that. But unfortunately, it never came to the point where we could finally meet in person. So we've been doing Zoom meetings and everything. And as I said, when I was introduced to Terry Moore, I started frequently working with him, and I was, mentored by by Terry Moore and his host. So I've been working close to artists who are very well established, like
Mm-hmm.
Terry Moore. He's been working with he's performed for names like um, Mint Condition and Tank, Showtime at the Apollo. He's been all over,
Wow.
the United States. So to be working with somebody who's so established like that, was definitely a blessing. So that's how I become, that's what's made me into the artist that I am today, is working under so many of these great names and so many of these experienced artists, that I've been able to pick up some things and I've been able to learn some things.
Are
And
you
I dabbled
still working on music, or is it mostly poetry right now?
So I definitely, one thing that I never stopped doing was writing raps.
Mm-hmm.
Always continued working on rapping and everything, and I started doing battle rap for a second just for fun.
Yeah, y'all
And
don't
I
know.
wanted
People
to.
watching don't know, but Jabrizi. What? I don't know. What's your battle rap name? Did you have a different battle rap name, or is it still Iso the Poet?
Oh no, I'm Iso the Poet in everything I do. You know why? Because everything I do is poetry. Everything
Oh,
we do
boom.
is poetry. Everything
Bars.
in the world is poetry. So yes, I'm Iso the Poet in everything I do. Um,
Yeah, those who don't know, I
so
saw some of your battle raps. You could hold yourself up in there, let me tell you.
thank you, I appreciate that. But the thing is, so when it comes started digging deeper and deeper into poetry, I noticed that I express myself better as a poet
Mm.
and as a rap, as both a poet and a rapper. But at the same time, what I wanted to do was I was in battle rap, and I decided I was going to stop trying to battle rap with people, and I
Mm.
was going to write like a poet.
Mm.
And I was like, I'm going to approach them like slam poetry
Yeah.
with some battle rap bars as well. So
Yeah.
that's what finally got me to the point where I have now developed a style for myself, where everything I write is from a poet's perspective in poetry form. So when I write raps, I write in poetry form,
And and
but I
those
rap it out.
who don't know, who are tuning in, rhythm and poetry, rap, that is rap. It's rhythmic poetry. And I think that's one of the things that drew me to the place rhythm and poetry, because I had found it on Facebook event randomly. That's how I got plugged into Graffiti Blue, and then Michael Ellis through Graffiti Blue. But was that it was this place where poetry and rapping and all of those things, all these different forms of expression could exist. And when you look at the history of hip hop, it has lots of different elements. It has the breaking, it has the graffiti writing, it has the emceeing, the DJing. And so with poetry, it is part of the process. I mean, rapping includes poetic, writing within your bars. So they definitely have a relationship together. And I think you honor that relationship a lot in your work. And it's something I love about your work.
Thank you. I definitely appreciate that. Can you hold on 1 second? I need to put my phone on the charger before we die.
Oh, yeah, no worries. Do that. Do that. Do that. So again, to everybody who's tuning in, my name is Moon Magic, and I'm here hosting for Word Wizards Wednesday, where we're going to be talking, using the power of words to exchange, and share a little bit about our art, our music, what we do. And so I am interviewing the one and only Iso the Poet today for Word Wizards Wednesday, the first ever Word Wizards Wednesday, because Iso and I have a special relationship where we met and became friends around the same time that we both started going out into the community in Sacramento, and really got put on our quote unquote artist path, or whatever you want to call that. Kind of found these mentors and people within the community that like Graffiti Blue and Michael Ellis and Terry Moore and these other people. Diva Cat and Poetic Butterfly is also one of those people. Ebony London, who kind of were these older mentors within the community who kind of are doing it, have been doing it. They are doing it, and that's why you're the first one here for special guests, because in honor of our story and our history, and in honor of you and all the work that you've been putting in these last couple of years, because you've definitely been busy at it too. I see you over there And just to congratulate you for your recent award, Rising Star Black Music Awards. That's an awesome recognition for the work that you're doing.
Oh yes, I definitely would like to. Yeah, I like those awards. Like for a second, a lot of people were telling me, especially people like my mentor Terry Moore, when artists do it for the love, they don't really worry about awards, right?
Yeah.
And someone like Terry Moore, who's very who's has such a long resume and has won so many awards and stuff like that, you know, they they get to the point where as an artist you've been there, you've done that. So they tell a lot of the young people, don't worry about the awards and stuff like that, because when you work hard and when you put in the work and you continuously try to grow as an artist, you're going to get acknowledged somewhere. Somebody's going to see you.
And and all of those artists that we were talking about, the people who kind of ushered us into the work that we're doing, they were all people. That was the first time I had seen people who are like, yeah, we're artists, this is what we do. And they're not like Taylor Swift or, Jay-Z, where it's like making millions of dollars and everybody knows them. It's like, actually, this is a path you can take. And, there's different ways than just this traditional one hit, you got to make that album that it got millions of views type of thing. And they kind of paved that road of showing like these are all the different ways of which you can do it, and you get to kind of explore your talents and your art through those different ways. And so that was one of the things I really remembered about that time, was just we don't see a lot of that in media. We see this only one type of artist, which is like the ones who make it, quote unquote, when there's lots of different people who are creative around the world who are making it work, who just don't have the recognition that they deserve.
Yes, that's something that was so big for me. I was unaware that there were artists out there that were so close to home.
Yeah.
That were so well established, and you could like my mentor Michael Ellis always told me, if there's one person who shows up for this show tonight, because this is the time where we were being boycotted, he said, we don't count who shows up, how many people show up. We show up and we do a show. If nobody's in the room, we're doing a show.
Yeah.
We're going to make this work. If one person shows up, we're doing a show. Two people show up, we're doing the show. We don't count who shows up into the room, because if one person walks out that room tonight and we changed their life or we inspired them in some form of way, then we did what we were supposed to do.
Yeah. And so, all of those artists we were mentioning, the ones who kind of ushered us in, they were all those type of people who put a full performance. If you see Graffiti Blue perform, you see Poetic Butterfly perform, you see Diva Cat perform, it's a performance. You are so drawn into what they do. They take their craft very seriously. And there's this big misconception that unless you have a certain level of following base, that determines your craft and how worthy it is, or, that you can't make money off of it, when there's lots of different ways to find ways to make it sustainable for yourself. And, so shout out to all of them for paving the way.
Exactly.
A little question I have for you that's just more of a fun icebreaker question. Let the good people know, what's your favorite ice cream? Are you fucking with the chocolate ice cream, the vanilla ice cream, swirl, some chocolate chips, cookies and cream?
Mint chip.
What'd you say?
Mint chip.
Mint chip. Oh, that's funny because that's like the one ice cream I don't fuck with.
Wow, that's crazy.
Mint and chocolate don't belong together, Jabri.
Yes, they do. That's like the perfect mixture. You don't put mint in anything else but chocolate and maybe tea.
I do like mint tea. I got a big thing for mint tea. I'm not gonna lie. Shout out to Snowy G from Oakland. Shout out to
I can't eat mint with anything else.
Tuning in.
Maybe like unless I'm chewing like a mint fruit flavored bubble gum or something like that.
I don't feel like anything should be mint that in chocolate. I can't. But
you don't like those
chocolate.
candies?
All right. So next question I have for you What are your top 5 artistic influences? And it could be, you know, poet influences. It can be local, but it can also be just artistic influences, and it could be a visual artist. It could be anybody. Five people who influence you in what you do.
Well, one thing that I haven't mentioned was that I wanted to always be in art specialist. So I've
Mm-hmm.
dabbled in many forms of art what people don't know. I've dabbled in sketching, drawing, and stuff like that. Even though I'm not a really good freehand drawer and everything, but if I look at something and I have to see something, I'm not good at mentally developing a picture in my head. I have to see the picture and I can remember the picture and sketch it out, or I could look at the picture or look at something and sketch it out or whatever. And, I've dabbled in stone carving and all types of stuff. So, um, I want to say artistically, my one of my inspirations would be Leonardo da Vinci. I've
Nice.
read. Actually, I have his book right here. That like so. Leonardo da Vinci, he was like the jack of all trades,
Wait,
and
is
the
Leonardo da
master.
Vinci the one who cut off his own ear? Is
I'm
that him?
I'm not sure. I haven't got to that part of the book. I know I know our
You still
childhoods were
watch him? You
very.
know that is that Leonardo da Vinci? Did he cut off his ear? I think he
Yeah,
was. I
so
think he was.
I'm pretty sure somebody knows, but I know our childhoods were very similar in
Okay.
some regards. So I was very interested in that, but also it was just I've read about his passion for art, and also how he worked under people. And he
Okay.
decided he found a mentor of his own, and it was so similar to my story that it really inspired me. But
Oh,
and
Alchem
he's
says it was Van Gogh, so we're good. Da Vinci, he's cool.
oh, okay. Yeah, but Leonardo da Vinci, he was such a great artist and everything.
Who was his
And
mentor? Leonardo da Vinci's.
I forgot who it was, but it was somebody in I believe Vince. What do they call it? It's Vince something. It's somewhere in
Mm.
Europe. But yeah, he was a very he worked under somebody who was actually a well-known artist in Europe or whatever,
Okay.
or within the city or whatever that he lived in, and kind of like me. And but the dude, he was a teacher of art, so he learned under him, and he was the best. Leonardo da Vinci was the best artist in the class or whatever. So, and he eventually started working under another person. So Leonardo da Vinci had a very similar story to mine. So that was very inspiring to me, and his passion and everything. And and he'll just be walking around and he'll sketch something. And
Mm.
he also had a very similar perspective of mine when it comes down to life. I believe there was a time where a bird was in a cage and it was meant to be sold, to be cooked, cut up and
Mm.
cooked. He took the bird and he bought the bird in the cage or whatever, and he went in the wild and he sketched it and sketched out some details, and then he freed the bird and everything. Something I would do,
Mm.
but
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, I would say Leonardo da Vinci, Beethoven. No, well, Beethoven was very inspirational for me too. But I'm gonna put Beethoven in. I'm gonna say Beethoven and Mozart. Mozart was definitely one of my biggest inspirations in terms of classical music, because Mozart was a hell of a musician. And
Mm.
he was started young, super young, such like he was like a child prodigy, and he was killing it. Um, I would say J. Cole.
J. Cole. Man, J.
Well, I'm
Cole
gonna say,
grew on me. I didn't know J. Cole like that, you know? When he first came out on the radio scene, when his hits came out, you know? And then I started watching Dreamville, and then just learning more about his own journey and how much pressure
mhm,
he felt to make those hits, and kind of a lot of the other gems that he had that were not considered for the album or the singles because they weren't the single that was going to make it. And just, you know, the way he explains himself and very aware of himself and the music industry and where he is and merging all the worlds. I have so much respect for him as an artist, and he's
Exactly.
phenomenal. He is, really.
So I would say, so I want to take a second to keep. So I'm gonna put Mozart and Beethoven. I'm gonna count that as one.
Combine them. Classical, your classicals. Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna count that as one. But so Tupac is probably my biggest inspiration when it comes down to rap. When it comes down to rap, Tupac is my biggest inspiration. But
and he was a poet. Those who don't know, if you don't know,
yes,
that's one
he
of the
started
things
off as a poet.
I love the most about Tupac specifically is his poetry. A Rose That Grew from Concrete, his poetry book, like, whoo, bars.
Yeah, he was a poet. So the reason why I resonated so well with J. Cole was because of Tupac. Like, you know, I was so inspired by. Matter of fact, I didn't really dabble. I didn't dabble a whole lot into Tupac at a young age. But there were, like, you know, the hits like Hail Mary, Ambitions as a Writer, Dear Mama, Keep Your Head Up.
Yeah.
Changes, you know, was one of my favorite rap songs at that time. And so when J. Cole came out, I already knew he was going to be a big, huge star from the start. I was hoping people didn't sleep on him because everybody was so, like at my age, you know, everybody was smoking so much weed and everything. So it was all about Wiz Khalifa, and for real, it was about Wiz Khalifa and Currency and stuff like that. All of those artists, they came out in the same year. They were a part of the freshman class of like 2010, 2011 or something like that. Maybe 2009, maybe 2009 or whatever. But I was hoping people didn't sleep on J. Cole, but I already knew he was going to be a huge star. I was like a big fan of his since Friday Night Lights, and you know, the Dollar and a Dream stages and everything. Dollar in a Dream, that's all a nigga got. So
have you
if it's
seen
got
that
that
loyalty
green,
track? That loyalty track he did on premieres. It's like a From the Vault. It has like some the chorus is by Guru. I'm assuming it was recorded before he passed, and J. Cole spits on the second part of it. And it's just a really dope blending of like the old school and the new school. And it's just like a beautiful little timepiece. The way they do it too, it kind of like infuses that because he's like singing through the laptop, you know, rapping through the laptop. But
well, I would say J. Cole, as far as this era goes, in the past decade since J. Cole came out, he's been the best. He's been the best sampler out of anybody. Nobody samples music better than J. Cole at this point. I haven't come across anybody in this era.
So you got J. Cole, Tupac, Mozart. What else?
J. Cole, Tupac, Mozart, Big Crit. You ever heard of Big Crit?
I have heard of them. I'm not too familiar with them, but I've heard the name before.
Big Crit, he's an individual artist, but he works on a whole lot of producing and stuff and beat making. So he makes tons of money off of beats and stuff like that. But Big Crit is a hell of an artist, a hell of a writer too. Like, man, you definitely got to check him out. You know, he has a song called "Children of the World." That's probably one of his. I want to say, as far as writing goes, that was one of his, I want to say, deepest songs. He also has what's it called? Well, just check him out, Big Crit. Okay. When I first heard of Big Crit, I saw him rapping on the BT Cypher. But the first song I heard by him was called "The Vent," and from the gate, he just comes out. He says, "A mother lost a child. I tried to ease the pain. It's only God's will. She said she feel the same. It's funny how the sun will up in battle rain as if the clouds couldn't stand to see me outside again." And I was like, whoa. At that time, I was like, I'm sold already. And that was what got me following Big Crit. But the reason why he was such a big inspiration to me is his work ethic. You know, despite the fact that like he did get signed to a deal, and you know he was
Mm-hmm.
getting some love for a second, but he never like just blew up to the point where he was like J. Cole level famous, you know.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at his views on YouTube, J. Cole will have millions. You know, Big
Yeah.
Crit will have like 750K on a video and stuff like that. At least for his later stuff.
Yeah.
Like, you know, his latest stuff is like 750K views. You know, he has some older stuff with millions of views, but but the reason his work ethic though, it doesn't matter whether he had millions of views or whether he had 750K. He still keeps going in, keeps on putting out products and everything, keeps on putting out songs, and he's just grinding all the time, mixtapes and everything. Like, and he stays very consistent and persistent and everything. So I would say Big Crit is definitely one of my biggest inspirations, especially on the topics he raps about. He
Mm-hmm.
never sold out and said, I'm gonna make some mainstream shit
Yeah.
so that I can finally stay current, so I
Yeah.
can stay in the limelight. He stayed true to the subjects he rapped about. So we got J. Cole, Mozart,
Tupac.
Tupac, Big Crit, and what would be the fifth one? Mm, uh, well, definitely right now, I would not be I would not be the apprentice that I am to say that Michael Ellis is not in that top five as far as
Hey.
inspiration and everything. Um, I mean, I would even go as far to say that
Yeah.
Terry Moore and Michael Ellis we're gonna count both of them as one, too.
Yeah,
We're
give a
gonna
shout
put them
out to
together.
all our Sacramento
Yeah,
legends in the poet community. I didn't mention Sean King earlier, but shout out to Sean King. He's also another OG out there doing his thing. Um, yeah, they definitely have had a huge impact on us. So I thank them
I
for
would
their
say,
work.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But like they had they had the biggest impact on me than any artist that I can name. But as far as inspiration goes, they're definitely the top five artists that have inspired me more than anybody, because I haven't been there and working side by side with any other artist, but those two, and Graffiti Blue and stuff like that. So when
Yeah.
you're there on the like on the front lines with them, and you see them at every show, and the work they put in, and even the community work, like
Yeah.
those are um two very devoted community activists,
Yeah.
and I'm not saying within their community. I mean, Michael Ellis does work worldwide.
Yeah, and
He
he works
inspires
a lot
people
with the
worldwide.
homeless community here in Sacramento as well.
Exactly.
I mean, he was out there every Saturday. I mean, we've been out there with him, but he was out there every Saturday for a while. Every
Yeah.
Saturday, pulling
Whether
through, giving clothes
whether
to
we showed up
people,
to help him or
water.
not, he was out there.
Yeah, yeah. Well, okay, I have my last question for you before we get to the sharing portion is, and you can interpret this question how you like. Word Wizards medicine to me is all about being able to bring together, everybody from different communities to share their medicine, to share their words, to speak those words, to contribute to this dialogue of awakening, this healing, and just a dialogue that can hopefully shift the way that things are currently politically. And so for you, Jabrizi, Mr. Iso, the poet, the legend, the one and only,
But
what would be, and I can kind of, I'll just let you interpret it how it is. But what is your medicine for the community that you hope to leave behind? Your words that you have, and it could be just a phrase, something you've been thinking about right now. It could be a topic that you're passionate about. I'll let you interpret it the way that you want to interpret it. But, basically your medicine, your words you want to give to the community at this time. It could be what you feel your art represents, or it could be just what you're feeling at this moment right now.
One thing that I had wrote this down one day, because when I was mentally ill and dealing with depression and everything, one of my biggest coping mechanisms was to I would always communicate with. I was such a social person, and I was on independent studies or whatever, so I was very isolated from friends and everything. So I would communicate with everybody through Facebook, and sometimes I would just sit at the computer and it would ask you what's on your mind, and I would just actually put a lot into that. Now today, we see what's on your mind, and we're like, social media. It doesn't take social media for you to, write down what's on your mind and everything. But I just at that time used that as a coping mechanism to I used that as a coping mechanism to be able to just get some things off my mind. And then one time I sat down and I was thinking of things that would inspire me and as well as inspire others. Sometimes when I write, I write from a perspective where I need to inspire myself and encourage myself, and I want to encourage others as well. And I came across a quote that I came up with. I don't know if I believe that other people have had other forms, I want to say, very similar quotes, and I didn't really do anything special, but it was just something very short and brief. And I said, free your mind, if nothing else, only then can you free yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't do anything in life, or if you don't do anything for yourself, I don't know, you just free your mind, and when I say free your mind, I mean like sorry about this. I've double booked, and I have somebody who expected me to do a show with them today. Can you hang on 1 second? I have to tell them why I cannot do that show.
You gotta do what you gotta do. Shout out to ISO the Poet here on Word Wizards Wednesday. For everybody who's tuning in, my name is Moon Magic, and I am interviewing the one and only ISO the Poet from Sacramento, California. And thank you for everybody who has tuned in tonight and who watches this on the playback as well. We in this bitch. Chit-chatting about how we met and all the craziness since then. And just so everybody knows, it's Van Gogh who cut off their ear, not Vincent. Who else was the person? Not Mozart. It wasn't Mozart. It wasn't Da Vinci. It was Van Gogh.
Yeah, unfortunately, there was a show that we were supposed to do last week, and we had some trouble with the Zoom passwords and everything, so we had to reschedule the show. And I don't do the scheduling, they do the scheduling, and I was already on the lineup, so they booked the show for Wednesday, and I was like, oh wait, I'm already booked for Wednesday with you.
Awkward, we're already here.
MASH has been my road dog, ride or die since for long. I want to say for the past 3-4 years. Yeah. I want to say 3 years. So I wouldn't be the friend that I am, if I canceled on her. So I decided, they have about 1 million. They have about 7 other people in the lineup. They'll do fine without me, especially with that lineup that they have. All the well-established artists. But anyway, back to what I was saying. When I say free your mind, like the quote was, free your mind, if nothing else, only then can you free yourself. Right? So when I say free your mind, I mean free yourself of all the social standards and all the high expectations people have of you. Yeah, and when I say high expectations people have of you, I mean even the good ones. People are like, you're gonna be something great. You're gonna be a big a big name one day. You're gonna do great things and stuff like that. Don't don't put your how do I put it? Don't put that weight on your shoulders to say I gotta be a big name one day. I gotta do great things. You don't have to do that. Maybe some people love living in solitary, and so I believe that nobody should have to meet someone else's expectations. You have to meet your own expectations before anything. So free yourself of all the expectations people have of you. Free yourself of all of that. Free yourself of trying to keep up with trends and everything, and allow yourself to allow yourself to be alone for a second, so you can look inside yourself and ask yourself, what do you want? What do you really want? Because in the end, that's what it's about. We have to, and at the end of the day, we have to look at ourselves in the mirror. Nobody's going to have to look at ourselves.
Yeah.
Look at our reflection and have to ask ourselves, and have to ask, what, like, are you happy? Are you content?
Yeah.
Like, in order to be able to really focus on your own happiness and on being content, you have to free yourself of all that, of everything else, but the focus, but the things that make you happy. And if some people would say that's selfish, but I was actually once told that being selfish has never been a bad thing. Yeah, being selfish is a good thing.
And sometimes, you were
As
talking
long
about,
as you aren't overly selfish.
right, and sometimes you're talking about the expectations other people put on you, but when you start playing that role of other people's expectations, good or bad, then you end up being in a place that you shouldn't be in. It gets all like distorted, and it's like you trip over yourself. You know what I mean? We think we're doing something that's selfless, but it's actually not, because it's not what you're meant to. You're not supposed to be doing that. You know what I mean? Because you're doing it with an expectation it's going to make that other person happy, and they may or may not even care that you did what they wanted you to do or not. You know what I mean? It's just it's such a, you get stuck in a trap. I definitely, that's medicine. I needed to hear those words. So
Yeah, like just like, if our happiness was based off of somebody else's happiness, like if I'm so devoted to making this person happy, and the only thing that'll make me happy is seeing that person happy, like, there can come to a point where you'll never be happy yourself, especially when you're dealing with a miserable person. Like, there's a song called the City of Angels or something like that. I think it's called Iris by the Google Dolls or whatever. It's a group, it's a rock group or whatever. But in the song is about, he said, when everything feels like the movies, you'll bleed just to know you're alive. So the story is about an angel who decided to come down from heaven to be with a woman. He fell in love with a woman. He had to sacrifice his immortality to be with the woman. So and when you look at the phrase, when everything feels like the movies, you'll bleed just to know you're alive, that means when everything is perfect, sometimes you'll do anything for everything to, like, for a pinch of drama, pinch of chaos, or some type of thrill in your life, right? So when I say, as somebody who, you could be doing everything right trying to make somebody happy. If that's the only thing that's going to make that, and you feel like that's the only thing that'll make me happy, seeing this person happy. But for some reason, anything you do for this person, they got to have some drama. They got to have some chaos. And, so you never truly make this person happy. You want to be content and happy, but this person is never content, and you're just giving so much of yourself. And especially
Exactly.
when your level of contentment is here and their level of contentment is way up there. Like, it takes that much for them to be content, but it only takes this much for you to be content for some reason.
Right.
Like, and that means it's going to be some confliction there, because you're expecting, you gave like so much of yourself, and you're like, man, I would have been content and I would have been satisfied a long time ago, but I just keep on
Right.
giving more and more of myself to this person, and nothing is making them happy. You see what I'm
Right.
saying? That's why we have to free ourselves of the expectations of other people. Like, I understand that you want me to be something great, or you want me to be, you have an image of what you wish I could be, but true love, true love is loving someone for who they are, regardless.
That part. That
You
part.
can't you can't keep on saying, nope, you got to be this, you got to be this. You got to love somebody for who they are, regardless. And I've experienced that a lot throughout my life, especially in my childhood, because I've had family members who were like very shisty, people, at one point, very shisty people. But at the same time, um, we love them, whether like my immediate family, we love our family members, even whether they're shisty or not. If
Right.
they're
I can
if they
definitely
might be
attest
really
to that.
shisty people, but you know, I love you anyways.
Right.
And I have faith that one day you may not be as shisty as you are. People grow. I've done some
Right.
shicey things in my life. I've done some real shicey things in my life, especially to close friends when I was younger. But then when I started getting older, I was like, I learned that, because when I was real younger, if I felt desperate for something and I wanted something that bad, I do something to get it. And if it
Mhm.
hurt somebody that was close to me, that trusted me, then I would, do it anyway. But when I got older, I started developing more of a conscience, becoming wiser, and knowing that everything that you put out into the world comes back to you. So you do bad things happen to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I also knew that, like, I couldn't do bad things to people and expect people to be good to me. Like, that doesn't make any sense, And so if I wanted people to be good to me, I had to be good to people, and if I wanted my surroundings to be good people, I had to be a good person. I can't be a bad person and expect good people to want to stay around me. You see what I'm saying? So, when you free yourself from all these expectations, and you free yourself of trying to fit into society, instead you're trying to fit into your own world. I'm
Yeah.
trying to fit into what I have pictured in my mind. I would like that's the image that I have, and now I need to make sure that, like, I need to do everything I can to pursue that,
And the wild
so
thing is,
for my own contentment.
so many of us don't get to figure out who that person is because we're so concerned about the expectations everyone else puts on us. And
Exactly.
that's terrible. That's fucked up. But no. Well, dang. Thank you, Jabrizi. Jabrizi. That's always going to be my nickname for you. IsoThePoet. Shout out to you. Thank you so much for being here today.
I'm having some trouble hearing you. Is there something like
Oh,
does my voice sound low right now?
your voice sounds good. Does mine still sound low?
Yeah, it sounds kind of muffled.
That's weird. Does it sound muffled now?
Um, no, but you sound louder when I originally started talking to you.
That's so weird. Well, it's okay because you sound good on your end. And we're getting to the portion of the tonight's special evening of you performing a couple pieces for us before we get out of here. So, uh feel free to share music or a couple of poems, whatever you feel you want to share with the good people here on IG Live tonight. And do your thing. You got, a couple minutes or so, whatever you feel. Yeah, just share a little bit of your passion with us. That would be a pleasure.
Okay, well, I have a little juice on my phone now, so I'm probably going to step back out for a second because I probably have some people in the house at the moment that want to, chillax or so, and I don't want to disturb them. But also I believe I have a list that I want to do for you guys. So, please hang on one second.
Okay. Thank you again to everyone who tuned in tonight for this is actually the first ever Word Wizards Wednesday, and it's something I've been kind of playing around with my head to host this and do this for a while. And with quarantine and not being able to do shows and meet in person, it seems like the perfect opportunity to do these lives and give not only our community but the larger community an opportunity to get to know some really amazing artists, such as Iso the Poet. Sacramento rising star, y'all, about to drop some heat on us. Bow, bow, bow. And I look forward to when we get to come out of this quarantine time, hopefully sometime soon, and do shows with everybody out there. My name's Moon Magic again, and this is Word Wizards Medicine, a platform where we unite across communities to be able to share our words, to awaken healing, and contribute to a dialogue and shift, the current of the things that are happening right now for the positive, and leave a positive impact behind.
Wow, I don't know what's going on. Your voice is
it's super muffled.
Yeah.
For those who are watching, is my voice muffled? Can you all hear me? For those who are on the live, let us know in the chat. That would be helpful.
Like the volume is like very low for some reason.
That's so weird. I don't know why, but I can hear you perfectly. So do your thing.
Hey, look, the camera is going crazy right now because I'm like putting it to my ear so I can hear you for a second. It'd probably better if I had my headphones right with me right now, but I forgot to grab them. So you're good. Let me see what we have. So, as an artist who I worked under, as I said, I worked under Michael Ellis, and while working under Michael Ellis, I noticed he was doing a lot of I want to say tributes to certain causes and addressing a lot of issues, everything, and I began writing pieces for that purpose as well. Spoken word and rap. Um, and being a fan of Tupac, who constantly did tributes to women to keep their head up, and Dear Mama, who would pay respects to his mother, despite all the drama they went through and all the troubles they went through. So this piece that I wrote was doesn't necessarily address any troubles or anything that women go through, but it was an inspirational piece to inspire women to love themselves, and take pride in who they are, regardless of what anybody else thinks. I'm getting a little tongue tied right there, aren't I? But so we spoke about free your mind, right? Where you free your mind of all the expectations people have, and you just have, and it's really you look inside yourself and find contentment within yourself. So I believe this piece kind of touches on that. So it's called Walk the Runway. With the smile of an angel and the body of a goddess, she struts down streets with legs like an Amazon. It's hard to be modest when you're fine as hell and you know you got it. So don't be modest. Walk the streets like a runway, baby. Walk the streets like a runway. Whether you're rocking cotton and you got some mink, baby, sway those hips and move those feet. And don't you stop. Baby, move those feet like it's Swan Lake around your block. See, there is more than one way to walk the runway. For example, you could switch those hips slightly or let them sway. You could walk soft and delicate, as elegant as a flamingo with the perfect balance it keeps, or you could walk as fierce as the tiger in the jungle deep. You could wear a smile. You could wear a smile like you came across a pot of gold, or you could wear a cold stare that pierces through the soul. Either way, baby, walk the streets like a runway. Be courageous and bold. See, everybody is different and has a style of their own. So when we walk the streets like a runway, there was no right or wrong. You could be a size 5 or a plus size model, but it doesn't make a difference at the end of the day because there are no size restrictions when we walk the runway. You could be rocking the latest gear, but baby, you don't need it because you can always bring last year's latest back in season. You can even wear nothing and take it back to Eton, and the world might follow you, girl. It's just that easy. Walk the streets like a runway. You don't need any practice because being yourself never goes out of fashion. Wear that ballroom dress when you want to be classy. Wear that see-through top when you want to be sexy. You feeling wild today? Then wear your hair a little messy. See, personally, when I see a woman walk the streets like a runway, I pay close attention to the way that she moves. See, my baby has got to be bold and beautiful, breaking all the rules. In today's society, however, everybody wants to be cool. And they say, if you're not rocking jewels, then you look like a fool. But the one that stands out is the one that is different from the rest of the crew. So walk the streets like a runway and dare to be you. And I bet you won't go unnoticed. I bet you won't go unnoticed. I bet they see you. I bet they see you like Naomi Campbell rocking couture in Paris. I bet they see you like Beyonce or Rihanna walking the red carpet with a dress that's heart-stopping. Baby, walk the streets like a runway. Walk the streets like a runway. Can't nobody do it the way that you do. Walk the streets like a runway and dare to be you. Thank you.
Yes, that's what's up.
So the next piece that I have is it addresses I'm gonna say 3 separate issues in a sense. No, it addresses 2 issues in a sense, and then after addressing those issues, I try to come back to myself, and well, I would just say personally, the song was technically divided into three verses where I gave a dedication in all 3 verses. And one of those was even a shout out to my my real squad, Michael Elvis, Moon Magic, and people like that, my moms and stuff like that. People who always showed me love and kept me pushing through or whatever. But the name of the song is called Rain on Me. And I'm going to do it a cappella for you guys because I don't really have access to the music right now. Rebel with a purpose. This one's for the niggas and the broads that stay flapping their jaws and that hate without a cause. It's all love over here, but these niggas want me gone. And if I keep fighting the powers that be, it won't be long before they end their cold chrome pieces out my dome. Oh my God, I messed it up. Sorry about that.
Rewind. Bring it back. Bring it back.
Rebel with a purpose. This one's something for that. Rebel with a purpose. This one's for the niggas and the broads that stay flapping their jaws and that hate without a cause. It's all love over here, but these niggas want me gone. And if I keep fighting the powers that be, it won't be long before they end their cold chrome pieces at my dome. Be my cold corpse on the floor, bleeding to the bone. If I pop a shot, we'll be even with 2 wrongs, but I'd rather let the most high even the scope. What you know about losing hope leads to the flow. Come up once just to take a loss, 3 in a row. They say my mind is in the clouds, but it seems that I've been falling as if death is silently calling. It's getting harder. How far away is hell from the heaven? How far away is heaven from the how far away is hell from the hell that I'm living? Mm-hmm. Oh, okay, I fucking up. My bad. I'm having trouble remembering the verse for a second. How far away heaven from the hell that I'm living, concerned to call to prison and let older bro tell it, but they just set him free. Shit, he might have been better off in a cell than running free a 3-time felon. All it takes is one young nigga trying to get stripes or a body count. Okay, I'm gonna pass that piece up for tonight.
You got this. Sorry. I mean, you already tied it. That's
I'm a little tongue-tied, and that piece definitely
the mind and freeing your mind, and you said heaven find the heaven from the hell that we're in, right? And freeing your mind. So you already tied it. You were tying the bow right there. That's all
Yeah, I
we
might
needed
be a
to
little tongue
hear.
tied on the raps tonight. With the spoken word pieces, I'm getting through those, but it looks like I'm a little tongue tied tonight. So let me see. What was I? Said, all it takes is one young nigga trying to get stripes or a body count or a traffic stop from a cop that fears for their life to find a reason to bleed a nigga and feed him a shot. I don't see grieving. I don't know. See, this is why I'm done with that. I'm done with that one for tonight.
Ah.
Uh, I'm gonna go on to this one that I'm gonna do is a dedication to people who grew up without a father. If you grew up without a father, you know what it's like to try to find trying to figure things out by yourself. If you're trying to figure things out by yourself, you don't always, make the right decisions and everything, and you just learn from, uh, you know, trial. You just learn from your mistakes, but first you got to make those mistakes, right? So that's the issue. When we have to make the mistakes in order for us to learn things where we should have already been taught them.
Oh, yeah.
So it's called the blueprint. How do you raise a man when a father figure is subtracted? How do you build a home when the blueprint is absent? In this society, the expectation of a man is to provide for his kin. He must build them a home. That's where it begins. But what happened when his father was absent? Was never there to lend him the blueprint, so the blueprint he has is just a fraction, a piece to the puzzle of building a home. He is left to draw up the rest the best way he can, but hey, what can go wrong? Perhaps he'll lease a few occupants before he even builds a foundation, start a family without stability and preparation. But in his defense to help his case, it is likely for a first timer to make mistakes. Yes, he could build the roof of his home weak, so weak that the room constantly leaks through the that the rain constantly leaks through the ceiling cracks, dropping deprivation of necessities upon his little ones. But it's likely that when your architect, I mean your father, failed to properly sketch out a roof for you, you build yours undone. Perhaps he forget to install a lock on the back door, perhaps the front door as well, so he can sneak his mistress in the back. And worst case scenario, his wife finds out he's been creeping. Now he can bring them through the front door. What's the use of it, even sneaking? But don't go blaming him. He is not in the wrong. He's just the product of the blueprint his father has drawn. Anyhow, now that his home is open to any woman he pleases, Daddy never drew up in the blueprint that his home was also open to men when Mama needed, and his side of the bed was blocked off by walls that he built with tools like emotional abuse and neglect and cheating without guilt. And since initially his home was built for a family of three, when they lend their dictation to others, it begins to get crowded, so love can no longer find room and soon enough takes its lead. Too busy building walls where they don't go. He never installed any windows. No, all that lay there is a hole in the wall. So as they tussle and fight, the neighbors could hear it all. And these holes in the wall work like retracting doors. So of the noise, they outpour circles the streets until they become whispers that import back into their home. As the process continues on and on and on repeat, and soon enough, he gives up on this fraction of the home. As the divorce papers crash down like a hurricane to split this home in half. See, Daddy never drew up in the blueprint that this was a blueprint to the home that wasn't built to last. But how can you blame a man? You cannot properly raise a man when a father figure is subtracted. You cannot properly build a home when a proper blueprint is absent. Thank you.
And I love that piece. I've seen you do that piece live at keynotes a while ago, and it's definitely a piece that stood out to me. The you know the comparison you make with the blueprint, and that's just kind of your style that I love about it, is the way you take everyday things and incorporate it into your poetry in such vivid detail. It's it's relatable, and it's, you can almost see it like a blueprint. So thank
Yes.
you. Mm-hmm.
Well, the thing is, I wrote that when I wrote that poem. It was a little bit of me telling my own story. I haven't had a family or anything. I haven't had children or gotten married, as I mentioned in the poem. That was a little bit of somewhat, I would say, improv, but it was it in the poem I mentioned that when your father wasn't there to draw out some type of blueprint for you, you were just left to try to draw up the rest by yourself. You were just left to try to figure it out. You know, and that's something I had to do in life. I had to just figure it out for myself. And my mom was there. She taught me, a whole lot. And she even, in terms of being a man, there were some things she can teach me about how to be a man, especially because she was raised primarily by her father, and who was my grandfather, obviously, and he was one of my main father figures in my life. But overall, we didn't have, me and my brothers, we didn't have a father in our life consistently. Somebody who woke up every day and that consistently was teaching you the purpose, or I want to say, as a man, just what it is to be a man, and we all have different perspectives of that. And when we say, like, as I said, when I said free yourself, I said in the end, you look deep down and you find out what makes you content. So being a man is somewhat of the same thing. We don't want to try to subscribe to gender roles in society, but just me personally, when I look at scientifically, when man and woman, just when we look at biology, a woman is naturally built to be a nurturer.
Mm-hmm.
Emotionally, a woman is a woman is a lot more in touch with her emotions. A man can kind of try to get there, but when we look at periods and when a woman's pregnant and stuff like that,
We are
what happens?
theaters of
She's
life,
very emotional,
naturally.
right? She's very emotional in that sense. So that's how a woman is able, a lot more capable of being a nurturer.
Mm-hmm.
So as a man, we're built naturally, we're built physically stronger. So if you take a woman, and she never works out a day in her life, and you take a man, he never works out a day in her life, then the man is going to be naturally stronger. Now, of course, the woman can, with training and dedication, she could, beat the man by a mile, as far as strength levels in a, competition. But when we talk about, evenly, even when we even it out and we say neither one of them ever works out a day in their life, a man is naturally built stronger. So a man is naturally expected to be a protector and stuff like that, and a provider and stuff. So as a man, that's what as a man you want to raise your son to be able to do that if necessary. It's definitely a plus when you have a mate. When as a man you have a woman um, who's able to get out there, provide, take care of the family and stuff like that. That's definitely a plus when you have a woman who can do that. But as a man, you just want to be able to step up and do that when it's necessary.
Right.
You know. But
And
so that's what
shout out to the dope
that poem
ladies in
kind of
our
tries to touch
chat.
on things like that.
Just wanted to give a special shout out to America and Mia, Mystic Mia, who are up in our chat, who have been supporters of Word Wizards. Thank you for joining us tonight. But yeah, no, I mean, we have our role since tribal times, and a lot of those things are being pushed now in the current with now we see different forms and expressions of identities of gender really being put out there. But in a traditional sense, in terms of just energy, right? Because I personally believe we have both masculine and feminine energy inside of us. It's important that we have good models of that.
I can barely hear you right now.
And balance those things within ourselves. Well, even though you can't really hear me, I know people on this chat can hear me. But yeah, do you have another piece for us?
Let me see. I have about 2 more pieces left.
Dope.
Let me see. I'm trying to think. I think I'm just gonna close out with this final piece. It's called this is a piece that I've done. I've done Anywhere I go, if I anywhere I perform consistently, I eventually do perform this piece because this piece always comes out. You try to store away some of your old pieces, and it's like, I'm working on promoting a new project. I need to focus on that. But like, there's always a time where you get in a setting and you guys talk about a subject and a poem just comes out of you. And you're like, you know what? This is a poem that I wrote, especially during the time where I needed inspiration. And it inspired me. I wanted it to inspire other people. And, and this actually is based on a true story about an article I read about a young lady who, she was raised by a single mother, and she went to college by like 14 years old, bachelor's degree and everything. But that was very inspirational to me, that story. And, I was older than 14 at that time. So imagine my surprise,
Wow.
probably like 17, 18 years old, reading about this 14-year-old girl who has a bachelor's degree, got raised by a single mother,
Wow. Yeah.
That was very surprising for me. But that was part of what inspired me to write this piece. And I hope that it inspires anybody else, who goes through who has a hard time in life, and they feel like the world is against them. I just want to encourage you to keep fighting, keep working at whatever it is any goals you have, any dreams you have, and eventually you're going to get there. And you'll be surprised because sometimes, people who go through such hard times and have so many struggles and challenges in their life, sometimes we come out shining brighter than people who never struggled a day in their life, people who had it all handed to them. Sometimes we come out on top, and we find ourselves in better positions than people who just had such an easy walk in life. You know why? Because like the challenges we go through make us stronger, and they make us wiser and everything. So when you're sheltered and everything, and everything is handed to you, of course you have advantages, and in some instances you will succeed, more than somebody who has a lot of challenges in their life. But the experience and the strength that somebody has, and the willpower that they gain from fighting through all those challenges, it oftentimes, like let's take Jay-Z for example, and there's rappers in the game who had it all handed to them, and for some reason Jay-Z came out the hood, is probably the richest rapper in the world right now. That's a perfect example of what I'm talking about. So without any further ado, I'm going to go into the piece. It's called I Heard the Sun Shine. I heard the sun shines. I heard the sun shines brightest on all that is blissful. I said I heard the sun shines brightest on all that is blissful. Walk with me through the land of smiling suns and flawless skies. Observe the home with the white picket fence. Behind it lies the family on the front lawn. See how the father reads the newspaper with a smile as flawless as a blank canvas. See how the mother in her polka dot dress pushes their baby on the swing. Nice tea on the table and a lemon slice on the tea. And if you look around the neighborhood, see the sun shine bright on all that is blissful. But wait, the story doesn't end here. Just ahead, we approach the land of skeleton bones and broken souls. Observe the broken home. Missing a father like an amputee, missing limbs. See how the little sister pushes her little brother on the swing because mama has to work for the things that they need. In the afternoon, the sister is a high school scholar keeping her head in the books. In the evening, she has no time to play with friends. She's too busy playing mommy. Knowing her mother struggles, she reads those books like an expert studies his craft. And with little to eat, she always feeds the baby first. With little to eat, she always feeds the baby first while her. Oh my gosh. I'm so tongue tied tonight.
You got this.
I'm so tongue tied tonight. Can you hang on 1 second? Sorry.
We're just testing and making sure everyone's paying attention. That's what it is. Again, thank you everyone tuning in for this Word Wizards Wednesday. with ISO the Poet. My name's Moon Magic. I'm hosting this special occasion to interview an amazing artist here in Sacramento, poet, and just phenomenal person, ISO the Poet.
Sorry, I needed some water. My mouth is so dry.
Water breaks are important, y'all.
Yeah, I definitely needed some water. But I'm gonna start it over. Okay, where was I? Okay. I heard the sun shines. I heard the sun shines brightest on all that is blissful. I said I heard the sun shines brightest on all that is blissful. Walk with me through the land of smiling suns and flawless skies. Observe the home with the white picket fence. Behind it lies a family on the front lawn. See how the father reads his newspaper with a smile as flawless as a blank canvas, and how the mother in her polka dot dress pushes their baby on the swing. Nice tea on the table and a lemon slice in the tea. And if you look around the neighborhood, see the sun shine bright on all of that is blissful. But wait, the story doesn't end here. Just ahead, we approach the land of skeleton bones and broken souls. Observe the broken home, missing a father, like an amputee missing limbs. See how the older sister pushes their little brother on the swing because mama has to work for the things that they need. In the afternoon, older sister is a high school scholar keeping ahead in the books. In the evening, she has no time to play with friends. No, she's too busy playing mommy. Knowing her mother's struggles, she studied those books like an expert studies his craft. With little to eat, she always feeds the baby first while she feasts on slices of bread and knowledge that feeds the brain but does not feed the stomach. I said knowledge that feeds the brain but does not feed the stomach. Observe the passing days of this young woman living in the dark, tired of waiting on the sun, but just in time. A pinch of sunlight shines on her world and hits that old rusted mailbox in the form of a letter, a scholarship to the finest college in the country. Even better than the boys around the corner with the white picket fence on his front lawn. I guess flowers aren't defined by the streets they grow on. I guess flowers aren't defined by the streets they grow on. I heard the sun shines brightest on all that is blissful. But I've seen the sun shine brighter on those in the dark. Thank you.
Woo! Jabri, I got goosebumps. That's also
I want to apologize. I'm a little tongue-tied tonight. Man, I've never been this tongue-tied in my life, but wow.
That's also
I guess I always bring a water with you when you're performing.
No worries, no worries. That's always a favorite that you do. I appreciate that one.
Thank you. I appreciate everybody who came to see me tonight or, got online to see me tonight. I wish we could have been we could have met up in person and everything, and I could have, there were some faces that I haven't seen in a while. One of my friends, Louis Jackson, I don't know if you're still online, but thank you for coming. We got Miss Mia online, but yeah, there's a couple faces I haven't seen in a while. I want to thank you guys for attending. I want to thank Word Wizards for having me. It's been a pleasure working with Word Wizards. So you guys should definitely check out some of Word Wizards material that I'm pretty sure Mash can give you that information and everything.
Yeah, there's a link in the bio to the Word Wizards playlist. Also on the Word Wizards playlist, you'll see a bunch of the artists who are featured, including ISO the Poet. And we got a new playlist coming out soon next year, Before I let you go, though, can you let the good people here know any recent projects you have coming out, any upcoming shows, where they can catch you and all that good stuff?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Let me see. What time is it right now? Okay, there was a show that I was supposed to do, and I was going to try to hurry up and close this one out. But, I've been real talkative during some of the discussions,
No, I appreciate it. I've been having fun chit-chatting.
But I was going to try to make this show in time to perform. I'm not sure if they are still running right now, but there's a show that I was supposed to do tonight. And if you follow Terry Moore, you could see some of his promotions for that show if it's tonight. But other than that, instead of rushing and trying to make it to that show, you could follow Timo Entertainment on Facebook. And I oftentimes, when it comes down to spoken word, I do most of my shows with Timo Entertainment, and you could definitely keep up with me, keep up with some of my performances and then some of the shows I do through Timo Entertainment. But it'll probably be a lot easier if you follow me, IsoThePoet, on Instagram or Facebook. IsoThePoet on Instagram, Facebook, and but as for projects and everything, I'm working on a mixtape right now. I tried to do some of that material earlier tonight, but I'm a little out of it.
This is the
Obviously,
mixtape
a little
you've
tongue
been working
tied.
on this, right? For a
Huh?
while? You've been working on this for a while, right? I think I heard pieces of it a while
Um,
ago in the car.
yes, I have.
With
I
that one,
actually
I can't wait till it
see,
comes
but as an
out,
artist,
y'all.
yeah, as an artist, when you so it's been a journey for me. You feel me? So in a sense where like there was times where I had to invest in lower quality equipment and try
Mm,
to make it work and everything.
yeah,
But it got to
yeah.
a point where I said, you know what, I'm not gonna do this half-ass. I'm gonna try to
Mhm.
go all in, and I invested in the right proper equipment, and I'm completely redoing the mixtape that I started originally with better equipment so I can get better quality.
That's
Because one
that's
of the tracks that I had uploaded to SoundCloud was not it wasn't exactly the quality that I wanted it to be.
mm,
Which was part of the reason why I originally vaulted the project.
yeah.
But I'm going to be redoing the mixtape from the ground up. Um, but I'm also working on coming out with a book pretty soon. But I
Okay.
do have some shows coming up. I believe tomorrow around like 7 or 8. I'm going to be performing for another one of Timo Entertainment's shows. Um, you could see me posted on my Instagram
Okay.
by the end of the night. If you can follow me on Instagram, you'll probably see that. So yeah.
So, well, thank you so much, ISO. You know, it's all love. And yeah, it was a very special honor to have you to be the first person to do this Word Wizard Wednesday with me. You know, you're like family to me, brother for life, you know, in this art life and just in general. You know, thank you so much for your support and just for being you and what you do, what you bring to the table. And yeah, for everybody who is not plugged in, please follow ISO the Poet. I hope you all enjoyed this Word Wizards Wednesday and getting to learn more about some of the artists who have been part of the Word Wizards projects. Again, you can find the link to the project in the Word Wizards Medicine bio. And if you are just tuning in right now and want to catch the playback, I'll be posting this on the page shortly, okay? Till then, peace out, ISO.